All right, guys. Welcome to DJ Talks. I think this is episode like 9 or 10 or something.
I think it's
Uh,
10 today.
Today's 10. Holy, we made it 10 weeks straight of this. Well, technically it's like 12 weeks because we did a couple trial runs that we're never gonna release. But yeah,
Never.
10 episodes. It was awesome. Maybe one day, but they were so shitty that I don't see us like uploading those episodes.
I can.
Um,
We can do it. We'll upload it once we're famous and something happens. Pop it on, and it's like,
or if
hey,
we get bored and we want to troll our fucking subscribers or something. But as you guys know, my name is Johnny, and to my right is Dan.
what's up?
Wait, you're on my right?
Yeah.
Okay, I always forget. I don't want to point there and be like, "Oh, there's Dan," and then it's like just like fucking related videos or something. I don't know.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so this week we wanted to talk a little bit about dieting. This is actually a topic that we wanted to talk about for a while, but by no means are we experts on the topic. But we wanted to talk about our impressions of dieting, what we know about it, and our thoughts in general. I think Dan and I have pretty strong opinions about some things. I know I do. And this is something that Dan's want to talk about for a while too, so I'm really excited.
Strong opinions. I don't know about strong opinions, but I have some opinions on this because, um, obviously, if you can tell, I'm not exactly the best person to say, hey, well, this diet worked for me. This, but
I mean, I mean,
but I've tried a couple of things. I've done a couple of things. Um, Dieting in general, yeah. We may branch out not only from food, but maybe exercise a little bit. But we'll see where it takes us from there.
yeah,
But just dieting in general, yeah.
yeah. We might even branch out to stuff like body image and societal perceptions of health and stuff. So, um, with that, we're gonna get started. So, Dan, what's the first thing that you wanted to talk about today?
So, I mean, what have you heard about, or what do you know about dieting in general? What have you heard, or what diets have you seen, or have you seen other people take a part in? Because you know those big names like Jenny Craig or, oh man, I don't even know any of the big names. I just know Jenny Craig.
Oh
But you
yeah, I mean
know,
vegetarian and vegan diets and stuff, and you also have including excluding certain types of
mhm.
things in your food. So
um,
my impressions of dieting in general are that they're bad, that they're pretty shitty for you in general, unless you have like a real medical reason for it. Somebody I work with, she has a medical condition where the thing in your throat that separates like where you breathe and your esophagus is that's what goes onto your stomach, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that little like flap thing, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
hers doesn't work correctly. So she has to be very careful with eating certain foods that will trigger her stomach acid that could potentially like go into the wrong place. So she's very specific with her diet, and I think that's totally legitimate. Like if your body literally says that you can't eat certain foods that because they'll like fuck shit up, then yeah, that's fine. But I think there are other people who just like I don't know. They just have like really weird ways of going about the way they eat food, or like when they eat food, or what they should and shouldn't eat and stuff. But in general, I think that it's kind of. I don't want to say it's silly. I think that there's a difference between like watching what you eat and dieting. Dieting, I feel, is way more extreme, and generally, I think I saw a statistic once. And like I said, Dan and I are not experts on this, and for me, I didn't do a lot of research on this either, so that's totally on me. But like 80, 85, or 90% of people who go on a diet don't last a very long time. Have you heard that statistic before?
I don't know the number, but I've heard that specifically said.
Yeah,
So
like people just like fall out of a diet. They're like they don't roll with it for a very long time. So it's like, I mean, you start it and you probably go for like a month or something, and then you just drop it.
and not even just that, but at the same time, if they do succeed after whatever set time that they put into it, I watched a TED talk about it, and it said that people are very likely and easily to bounce back, as
Yes,
in
yes,
like
I
to
too.
like yo-yo right back into what they did because they missed all of these foods, and the second they start eating that exact
Binge.
food, they start, yeah, binging, start fully enjoying. they say there's a habit after what 3 weeks, right? You make something a habit after 3 or 4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, it depends on what it is, but it's
Hmm.
something along those lines. Like it takes a couple of weeks.
Right. But eating is so much different, and this TED talk was super interesting. I don't know if she had facts to back it up, or it didn't. I mean, TED talks are generally um, really interesting, but she said that most people have a somewhat subconscious weight level they
Hmm.
stay at. No matter how
Yeah.
much dieting you do, or no matter how much like up and down you go, you're generally around the same area once you kind of hit that point.
Yeah, I had a conversation once with a really good friend of mine, and he was telling me about how most of the time, just like when you're living your life and you're eating, even if you're eating like more unhealthy food than you really should, quote unquote,
Hmm.
um, your weight and the way you look is generally just kind of a result of where you've kind of like your equilibrium almost of where your body should be, and that's kind of where it's comfortable.
Hmm.
And that I think you made a really good point. I'm really glad you brought that up, Dan. That even if you go on a diet and you lose like a shit ton of weight, you're probably going to gain a decent amount of it, if not all of it back, because your body is just so out of sync, and you want to like get back in sync to what you're used to. Um, and that's definitely happened to me a couple times too. Like I'll work out for like 2 months and I'll change the way I eat, but then like this is in college, so then it's really easy to go out really late at night when you're staying up to do work and you eat like really shitty food, and then just within like a couple of weeks you're back
Hmm.
to where you were before. Um, I was actually really worried about that when I went to Tokyo. I gained like 8 or 10 pounds or something
Oh.
because I just like ate so much. The crazy thing though is that like one of my friends that went with me to Tokyo, um, his body fat percentage went down by like 5 or 7%. He was like in the low to mid 20s, and then was at 17% afterwards. So like he was at a really good place in terms of like body weight or body fat. Um, but then like after a week, I lost that weight, and I'm like, what? I'm back to like normal, and I think that's probably as a result of me like eating candy and snacks and stuff that I normally wouldn't eat, but I wanted to try because I was in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But then like coming back, I started working a lot, and so that probably contributed to it, right? And then eating more normal food that my body is used to definitely contributes.
Hmm.
Which is also kind of funny, just because I know a lot of people in Tokyo are way skinnier than me. So then, like when they see me, they're able to identify me as a foreigner because I'm like thicker than they are, and they'll ask like, "Oh man, you're really muscular." And I'm like, "Nah, nigga, I'm just fat." And they don't know that. Um, but like I think that me, like I've kind of accepted that like I'm a little thick, so like that's probably the way I'm gonna be for the majority of my life, if not all of it, just because that's like where my my equilibrium is, right?
Hmm.
So it'll be something along those lines.
Yeah, and the same thing, same. Also, another little thing, same topic that the TED Talk was kind of talking about, but she started mentioning as well. If you start dieting, you start losing a little bit of your metabolism, or the amount of metabolism that you have doesn't equate to the amount of food that you'll eat. There was something along these lines where if you start eating less or a certain restriction of diet, the second you start eating it again, you'll gain it